Having never been to Oklahoma, I have no idea what I'm getting into. My assumptions are ignorant. Will Garth Brooks and Bill Hader be having coffee at the terminal Starbucks when I get off the plane?
I don't drink coffee. Never have.
Will Barry Switzer and Brian Bosworth pick me up from the airport? I assume everyone wears loudly colored pearl button Wrangler shirts. We land in OKC and things go sideways more or less immediately. Camera guy Jacob goes down with food poisoning from an undisclosed OKC restaurant, and the locals tell us that biblical weather is coming. And when citizens of a region called Tornado Alley say this, you tend to listen. And I might be swept away in a storm, and worst of all, no one will be there to film it. In Oklahoma, the primary basketball attraction at this point is in the state's biggest city, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The team that was a major pain in the ass to play during the 2022-23 season has now leveled up. This team is led by an MVP candidate, a lanky, herky-jerky, and well-dressed destroyer of worlds named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But they were able to make a leap by adding some key personnel around him, namely the do-it-all big Chet Holmgren and a two-way perimeter force in Jalen Williams. This team established a clear identity through their exacting pick-and-roll game, where they posted the second highest points per possession mark in the league, their ability to relentlessly drive the ball from every spot on the floor, their extremely good three-point shooting, and by being one of the most disruptive defensive teams in the league. That helped them earn the 1 seed in the West, and they now find themselves in a second-round playoff series against the Dallas Mavericks, who are led by two postseason monsters in Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Are they ready for this? I am over the moon, pumped, jacked, hyped, antsy even, to see this iteration of the Thunder in person for the first time. The crowd here is initiated, unlike me. They adore this team and they're ready to roll. The scuttlebutt that you hear around the league and see on TV is that OKC's home atmosphere is rowdy. This is their only pro sports team, so their attention is undivided. To navigate this unfamiliar terrain, I'll need to enlist the help of a guide. Who better than my buddy Tyler, the sommelier of all things Sooner? He promises me that the OKC food scene is top-notch. I'm excited to try places like the Mule, Chef D's Creations, the Paddy Wagon, after we've visited his home base of operations.
Good mark. It's really.
They call it back home. They call him Mark McGuire.
I came into this trip thinking that Oklahoma wasn't necessarily a basketball state, but the more I'm here, the less I'm sure I even know what that means. Basketball states or basketball regions are typically identified with some tie to the success of a local team, and the fanaticism for that team is used as a visible measure of credibility that you can point to. In Oklahoma, there is some precedent of winning and producing talent. Henry Iba led Oklahoma State to back-to-back national titles in the 1940s with a lot of help from a dominant rim protector named Bob Kurland, which led rival coach Bruce Drake at OU to pen a Saturday Evening Post op-ed pleading for a goaltending rule. I can and will go on. Wayman Tisdale, Mark Price, Blake Griffin, and Trey Young, just to name a few, are all world-class talents. OU's women's team has a decorated history of success in the tournament and projects to continue to be good. And yet, on a national level, it could be the case that their interest in the sport has simply needed a vehicle, something to consistently get excited about. Was it as simple as a freak occurrence, allowing a hoops culture to finally find an outlet for their passion? I wanted to hear some answers from the lips of the locals. Joe Masato, Andrew Schlecht, Ryland Stiles, and our very own Tyler Parker are born and bred Oklahomans who've each covered the Thunder for varying amounts of time.
I don't think the NBA would be here now without Katrina, and it's like, sounds horrible to say, but it was just like a random... Shut the camera off. It's a random event where, you know, the Hornets needed somewhere to play. Oklahoma City steps up. David Stern saw how, you know, the fans welcomed the team here.
It was extraordinary, really. The mayor, the business community, the universities that offered to be practice facilities, they said, we know tragedy in Oklahoma City, and we very much want to open our community to the folks and who the players, the team, and others. They've just been terrific.
Chris Paul really liked it, that a superstar level player was saying such nice things about it.
Real sliding doors moment. Yeah. Chris Paul had been like, he just dismissed all this nonsense.
But he was always like, I mean, and even then, you know, coming back, I think that was one of the reasons that he was wound up being okay coming back in 2019 is because, like, well, he did have a good experience.
Yeah, you got to remember, my first time ever leaving Winston-Salem, North Carolina, was coming here to Oklahoma, and the fans were unreal.
One can make the argument that, for a new franchise, Oklahomans have had it about as good as you can have it. Their square one involved drafting 3 future MVPs in consecutive drafts, and the savvy organizational steering of Sam Presti has protected them from prolonged seasons of wandering in the directionless desert of losing. Their success in football could actually strain that if those days ever do come.
OU football influences the Thunder fan base in the way that, like Andrew was talking about, they've always been good. The success has always been there. The standard is always so high, and that's why the rebuild, I think, was especially tough on some people, because the hard part was already done when the Thunder came here from Seattle. I mean, Kevin Durant was a Seattle draft pick. Russell Westbrook was the Thunder's first pick. Then James Harden, and it's like the core was made. So they didn't have to really see how the sausage was made.
Their next phase has become the stuff of legend on and off the court. OKC's ultra-talented young core surged to the NBA Finals ahead of schedule in 2012 and then splintered bafflingly for a variety of reasons in 2013 and then knocked on the door in the playoffs annually before one iconic performance from Klay Thompson in 2016 shifted their team and the entire landscape of the league. One beloved son flew the coop in shocking fashion, and the other stayed put. During that span of time, from 2016 to 2019, Russell Westbrook became arguably the most complex and divisive figure in the sport.
He commanded the room at all times. I always get the players to do our intro for our show Down to Dunk every year. Got Steven Adams, who's always great. I just got Paul George, and then I find Russ, and I'm like, hey, Russ, you know, could you do the intro for my podcast? And like, here's the line I want you to say. And he just kind of looked at me, there's the side eye, and he goes, maybe. Then he walks away. And then I said, hey, Russ, if you don't want to do it, it's okay to say no. And that was the dumbest thing I could have said. Because he turned around, and he came back, and he kind of got close to me, and he was like, you know me pretty well, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, if I'm going to say yes, I'll say yes. He said, but it's like, and I said, okay. I was like, well, will you do the intro for me? And he goes, maybe. And then he just walks away.
Nationally, Russ's prickliness and intensity came off as rigid and at times off-putting. Locally, it became something else entirely. You can see where a circled wagons, fuck everybody else's opinion mentality that was driven by reciprocated loyalty could rise up out of that.
I want to tell him thank you for staying. Like, no matter what he does in the future or anything, he'll always have that place in my heart.
He embodied like the entire city at the time, where it was like, you know, we felt like mistreated. We felt like, you know, this giant chip on our shoulder, you know, and he just kind of took all of it.
One of the coolest games I've ever covered is when he came back for the first time with the Rockets and does a thing after introductions where, you know, he runs to one corner of the court and fires everyone up, and the place just went bonkers.
When they played the tribute video, like, people are like weeping playing this tribute video because like how much he meant to the city and to the team, and so
You seem like you're getting a little
choked up.
Next would come the building of the bridge from one era to another. So in a 10-day period, the Thunder shipped off 2 key pieces from their 2019 playoff team and secured 3 starters for their next era of playoff success. On July 6th, they signed Lou Dort to a 2-way deal, and on July 10th, they swapped Paul George in a deal that included Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
You know, Clippers been my team, so, you know, for me, it was a chance to come back home and to be a part of something that was already special.
And on July 16th, they finally parted ways with Russ. Through those 2 deals, they now had more picks than you could shake a stick at.
This is very much a Prestiism, but he talks about there being, you know, 2 mountains, and that first team was the first mountain, then came the valley that was shorter than we thought it was going to be with the rebuild, and now they're at the base of that second mountain. So I think that really does like have a sense of nostalgia around here.
I admit I'm still in a bit of a fog from the chaos of the Paycom Center. I, along with camera guy Jacob, who's back from the toilet and now in the land of the living, stopped by Iote Coffee for a pour-over on our way to catch a post-victory Thunder practice. Felt like a good opportunity to take a moment to understand the youth of today.
You said you're a gamer. What do you play?
I play a little bit of everything. Kind of just depends what it is. In the moment, I'm playing Siege and Madden. Those are my 2 games.
Okay. Do you not do 2K?
2K, I do it here and there. I play Pro and 5s. Yeah.
Okay. Are you happy with your rating on 2K?
Of course, I want to be better, but it all depends on me, I guess. But I got a roster where I'm a 99 maxed out. So.
Okay. You just developed yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any credence to like people like learning from 2K? Because I've heard people talk about that, like young players like learning coverages and stuff.
I mean, I guess you could say a little bit, but like I play with a group of guys I've been playing video games with since I was in like 9th, 10th grade. So it's the same guys, and we'll like play the game, and we play Pro and 5. So it's 5 of us against 5 of another guys, and we were inbounding the ball. This literally just happened, and we were inbounding the ball at the end of the game. And I was like, y'all stay here. I'm running backcourt to get a catch, and none of them knew that you can catch in the backcourt. And it's kind of just like me being in the NBA, knowing those rules. And I guess you can say you learn stuff from playing 2K if you think about it like that.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a single person who better encapsulates the dynamics of basketball in the Sooner State than Lindy Waters III. Lindy grew up here, the son of a college standout who played at Southern Nazarene and has indigenous heritage from both the Kiowa and Cherokee tribes. His circuitous path to the NBA took him from Norman, Oklahoma to Stillwater to suit up as a 4-year letterman for the OSU Cowboys, to a wandering post-COVID state that had him delivering food and wondering about his future, to an unexpected stint in the basketball league with the Enid Outlaws, to the G League with the OKC Blue, to a 2-way deal with the Thunder, to present day where he's sitting with a vitamin D deficient hipster asking him annoying questions about how he did it.
Where was basketball in sort of the hierarchy of like, was it most of your friends played football, or was it what was that like when you were growing up?
Well, growing up, my family, played college basketball, and just kind of being Native American, res ball was a thing. So,
well, talk about res ball really quick, because that's a unique style like that I think people maybe aren't as exposed to. There's some people who talked about it, but because it is a unique style. Would you describe it that way?
Yeah, it's really run and gun, offensive based. Shooting threes. So that's pretty much it. No like running sets and slowing the game down. It's trying to play fast pace and score as many points as you can.
Push it in transition, or is there like a lot of passing in the half court, or is it ISO, or what's the style like when you're not out running?
Really, it's throw the ball ahead and try to score layups and shoot threes like really quickly. Yeah, so it can sometimes turn into ISO ball, but a lot of the times, you know, once you get the ball off a rebound or turnover, it's try to get the best shot and the first shot like as quick as possible.
What do you think the importance of like your role with the Thunder is for like kids who are younger? Because who were your idols? Like, did you have idols when you were coming up that were like you looked at? Obviously, your dad was a great player, but like at the very, very highest level, did you have somebody that was like that person's like me? Do you think that that's important for kids that are this age, or is there talent that needs to be kind of motivated to see that it's possible? Do you think?
For sure. Somebody I looked up to was Jim Thorpe. And he just the athlete in general, you know, he did everything, and he was native, so that was somebody that I looked up to and wanted to be like and model after. Even if I didn't see it in person, that was still somebody that I try to achieve to be like. So I think it is important for our youth to be able to see guys like myself, you know, trying to give back into the community and be able to have them put their eyes on me and know that it's possible. And it doesn't have to be basketball, it can be anything, but just showing them that it is possible.
From practice, we set out on the road to the modestly sized town of Shawnee. Population roughly 31,000 and located roughly 40 minutes to the southeast of Oklahoma City. I'm hardly an expert on the subject, but this place feels Oklahoma to me. The sky and terrain are entrancing. Things to do and some things to see. For instance, you could go and wander around an eerie but utterly fascinating abandoned college campus, but life here seems to move at a comfortable pace. No worry, no hurry. There are Brahms everywhere. This region is home to the citizen Potawatomi Nation, a Native American tribe that was forcibly and horrifically pushed into the Midwest by greedy white Europeans. The Potawatomi people have responded by building and cultivating community, and one of their most recent ventures is a semi-pro hoops team called the Potawatomi Fire. The Fire are the first Native-owned professional basketball team in the world, and they won the championship in the basketball league in their second season in 2023. If you haven't heard of the TBL, odds are there's a team within your vicinity.
So it's really spread out. TBL has 6 conferences throughout the country.
You've got the NBA, you've got the G League, and then you got us.
Dalen Guy, or Chuck as he's usually known, is a knock-around point guard who came to the Fire by way of Dallas-Fort Worth, Arkansas Little Rock for 2 years, and then Tarleton State University in Texas for 2 more. He's undoubtedly the leader of this team and one of the most valuable all-around players in the TBL.
How old are you right now?
32.
32. Do you play anywhere else in the off season? Is this the only play?
I'm old now. I mean,
are you pretty content with where your career is? Basketball.
I done been around. I mean, I'm at the point. I got 4 little girls. I'm married, so
you have stability here in Shawnee.
This organization, I mean, they taking care of me. I done been to where it wasn't good, and I'm just stuck right now.
The like lifestyle of basketball. Do you have any? I mean, what else? What are your other interests? Like if basketball, you seem like you're at the point of your cruising altitude. Do you have any kind of ambition outside of
day
basketball?
for day. I still got years to come. I'm not even thinking.
Are you one of those guys that's gonna like die on the battlefield? Like they're going to drag you off?
No, they'll have to take me off.
He'll be playing when he's 50 if his wife lets him.
Are you sort of the guy like, hey, get your shit together, or do you have a gentle hand as a leader, or like?
I'm never gentle. You're gonna hear me. I mean, it's just what it is. I think a lot of people relate to me, and they cool with me talking to them like that, especially when you know that's it's no hard feelings with it. I'm just trying to get you to be on the same page or go get to your best. So I mean, I don't think nobody downfall me for that.
Isaiah Wade is a newer Fire addition. He's a 6'7" Energizer forward who started playing organized basketball in the 11th grade, and the game quickly became a steadying force that paved a path towards a life in hoops.
I was looking at your Synergy page where they show like the teams that you've been on, and yours is long for a young guy. I was like, you've had like a lot of stops. I mean, you got a chance though to log some G League reps too, though, right?
Yes, sir. So after college, I got an agent, and he got me like a couple G League workouts, and ended up going with the Grand Rapids Gold. made the team. Then they ended up picking up North Cole, so ended up going to China after that.
North Cole over
here?
Yeah. How dare they?
He got a ring and experience, and he sell tickets. So, so I ended up going to play in China. Had a crazy experience out there playing basketball.
In China, really? Okay. Like,
Back to the G League.
what was the adjustment to the lifestyle there?
Just not knowing what they're saying. You got to literally point out everything or show a picture.
Google Translate. Do you ever hold the thing up with the phone where it like translates it? Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, I seen it, but it just, I don't know, I feel weird walking up trying to have somebody talking to my phone so I can understand what they're saying. So I just point it out, or I just try to figure it out myself.
The online community loves to gatekeep and talk about who is or is not a real hooper. Fame and fortune, those are easy motivators. Modest income and rooming in apartments with your teammates, that'll reveal the real ones in a hurry.
You may have to move away from your home. You may have to move away from your wife and kids for a little while. You're not going to make a lot of money doing it. And, you're going to live in apartments with other guys, kind of like the college scene.
So they do live. Do you all have like kind of an apartment situation for
things like that? They don't make the same money as the G League and certainly not the NBA. So it's obviously a stepping stone for these guys, and grow and work through that to advance and move forward.
This whole arena is managed by 7 employees total.
Well, what happens when if you're managing a lot of different entertainment aspects? I mean, when like a fire, have you all had any kind of interesting moments of like this is about to go off the rails, or like is there a lot of variables you're introducing?
The first year, yeah, probably so. The first couple of games, a lot of the staff was nervous. You've got to remember, I came from 35 years retired into gaming management. Okay. So a casino is a living, eating, breathing, 24/7 3-ring circus. So to do an event for 3 hours in one night is walking apart.
So you were like uniquely prepared for all the.
This is actually, I can do this in my sleep, compared to running 1,000 machines, 2 concert halls, a bar, and 8 restaurants at one time, plus a 200-room hotel. Things like that. Where I come from after I retired.
Roster building in the TBL is the Wild West. The scouting pool is gigantic, and the pieces are constantly shuffling.
Everybody's a free agent. It's all 1-year contracts. So when the season's over, you're a free agent.
Coach makes final decisions on all the players. I'm a scout. I look for talent. I look for stats. Coach looks for stats. I look for guys that can sell tickets. Coming from the old.
Is that the primary?
He'll tell me about a player, and I'll say, "How good is he on the microphone?"
Okay,
I mean, has he got a 40% three, and can he talk? That's the kind of thing. Can we talk him into the building?
So if a guy's 35% from 3, but he could have his own podcast and it would do well, versus a 40% shooter from 3, maybe a bit of a cold fish. You're going to go with the guy who we need to improve the shot a little bit.
Because that'll probably even have a bearing on his contract performance value too. I mean, he's actually selling the cars, not only driving them. We're able to attract a lot of talent. We've got the recruiting ability of an Alabama for a TBL type
football. Okay,
football.
Okay. This is the Cadillac, guys. Come check it out.
We are. I would say we're probably the Mercedes or the Lamborghini of the TBL.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams can practice?
He upgraded the brand name. Did you notice that? That was smooth. Yeah.
Before we head back to the big city, another order of business feels important. If you follow the Ringer at all, you might have heard of Tyler Parker, the electric seamster, the Sooner State songbird, the great high priest, and the cult of Nick Collison. Tyler's one of the funniest people I know, firmly in the running for the top spot.
That's actually a take that I agree with.
And his journey in the arts, from training at Second City to his documented silliness both on camera and in print here at The Ringer, to authoring an incredibly colorful and eclectic ride of a novel that is set in Oklahoma called A Little Blood and Dancing, have distracted from what I would say is arguably the most important line on his resume. My guy could really hoop. TP was an all-state player at Fort Gibson High School in 2006 and then went on to play 4 years at Oklahoma Baptist University, whose campus is located in Shawnee, coincidentally, where he served as a team captain on a squad that brought home the 2010 NAIA National Championship. We figured it was high time that the prodigal son came home. I cannot overstate how uncomfortable all of this attention made him and how entertained I was by that.
As you can see, incredible penmanship. I write with my toes, so that's why it looks like that.
It's time to head back to Paycom Center for what Thunder fans hoped would be a continued defensive home court, but Luka, Kyrie, and the Mavs came out dialed in and riled up.
Let's turn your attention to Thunder Vision for tonight's injury report.
Aside from a $20,000 half-court shot from a fan, the delicious energy of Game 1 had gone stale.
No goddamn way. Oh no, I didn't.
First in the last 2 minutes.
The vibes were suboptimal. For a part of the country that is noticeably flat, I can't help but take a step back and ruminate a bit on the paths. The hills, valleys, sharp turns in this or that direction, and circuitousness of the journeys that we've learned about while we've been here. Our guy Tyler's pursuit of that free-flowing state, both on and off the court, and the arts that might keep him firmly in the present. The self-belief that propelled Lindy Waters to rally and fulfill his dream while working to widen the door for those who might follow. Camera guy Jacob's journey from bedridden illness to arcade illness. The pure love of the game from those Fire players. And the grace of the Potawatomi people to pour so much effort into cultivating community and creating opportunity. And of course, the Thunder, the storybook arc of one thrilling era ending in heartbreak.
As I said, the fireworks are not going to be as bright, the hot dogs are not going to taste as good.
And another equally promising one just beginning to unfold. I'm guessing high times are ahead on that path, however the details play out. But moving forward is the virtue, and this place is no stranger to that state of mind. Let me know if you agree.